In this video, I'm going to give you a full tutorial on how to build a sunset flow inside of Klaviyo. And I'm going to give you the exact triggers, the time delays, and I'm going to share my screen and walk you through it so that you can get this set up and running by the end of the day. Now, what is a sunset flow? A sunset flow is essentially an automated polite breakup sequence, and it targets people on your list who have completely checked out, meaning they haven't opened or clicked your emails in months. And it gives them one final irresistible chance to stay. And if they still ignore you this time, it automatically unsubscribes them from your list. Now, you may be thinking, why do I need this flow? Well, firstly, you're paying Klaviyo based on the size of your list. And if you're paying to send thousands of emails to dead accounts, you're literally throwing money away. And secondly, and more importantly, it protects your deliverability. So when inbox providers like Gmail and Yahoo see you constantly sending emails to people who ignore you, they start flagging your brand as spam. And eventually it means you'll start missing the inbox and landing in spam, which is not good. So by building this flow, you save money and you clean your list automatically, making sure that your emails eventually land in the inbox, which is where they belong. So what I'm going to do now is jump straight into Klaviyo and we can start building this flow. Real quick, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Sodik Patel. I'm the founder of Umret Digital, and we help e-commerce brands with their email and SMS marketing. And all my links will be in the description. So before we get into Klaviyo, a unique thing about this particular flow is we need to first create a segment, and then based off of that segment is going to be the trigger that the flow will start from. So first we're going to go into Klaviyo and make this segment with the following filters. So as you can see, I'm now in Klaviyo. What I'm going to do is create a segment. So we're going to go into left-hand sidebar, go into audience and click on list and segments. And then in the top right-hand corner, create a new segment. So with this segment, I'm just going to give it a name. We're going to call it Sunset Flow Segment, brackets, I'm going to put tutorial. And then we're going to add our conditions. So we're going to click on this, do what someone has done, and referring back to our segment settings, we've got received at least 20 emails in the last 120 days. So here we go to received email is at least 20 in the last 120 days. And what this does, it just gives people a chance to receive enough emails from you before you actually remove them from your list. So we're going to add a next condition. So we just press this add condition button and make sure it's on and the next one is what someone has done, which is received email 0 times in the last 120 days. Cool. And the other condition we need to add, make sure you're clicking on and for all of these. I'm going to do what someone has done, which is clicked email 0 times in the last 120 days. Sorry, it says 90 days. The amount of days that you set will be up to your brand and your purchasing cycles. So this could be different for a supplement brand. This could be different for if you sell a furniture brand or something that is a one-time purchase. So it really is up to you how you define this segment and how you define unengaged subscribers. But if you choose to copy the numbers here, that's totally fine. It should work. Then we've got started checkout 0 times in the last 90 days. So what someone has done, started checkout 0 times in the last 90 days. And then placed order 0 times in the last year. So again, someone has done placed order 0 times in the last 365 days. So this is a segment done. All we do now is just press create segment in the top right corner, and that should be made. So as you can see, the segment has been made. So this is the segment here, and we can see in our sidebar, if we go to lists and segments, that it appears there. So the next thing we want to do now is create the actual flow. So I'm going to go to the sidebar again, click on flows, and there is a flow template for this, but for this tutorial, we're going to make it from scratch. So we go to create flow in the top right hand corner, and we press build our own again, and we're going to name it sunset, unengaged, flow, tutorial, and just press create flow. Now for this flow trigger, what we want to do is, let's refer back to our flow settings. It's going to be when someone gets added to the unengaged segment. And this is a segment that we just created. So flow trigger, when someone is added to a segment, click on that and we find our segment, which is here, and make sure it's on no re-entry and press save. And we also have to add some conditions for this flow. So when someone has not opened the email 0 times in the last 120 days, so we just go back to the trigger and we go to profile filters, add profile filter. When someone has not done, and this will be opened email 0 times in the last 120 days. And then we do and again to create a new condition. And this will be when someone has done clicked email 0 times in the last 90 days. And then we press save. And there we go. Our trigger is set up. So now let's start building out the flow. So for this flow, what we want to do is we want to wait for, so for this flow, we want to have 2 emails. So I'm just going to drag in 2 emails from the left-hand side. And in between those emails, we do want a delay. And we also want a delay at the start. So we're going to do a time delay at the start before email 1. And this is going to be 1 day, or I'm just going to select 24 hours. Save. So now we'll wait 1 day. And then add a delay in between email 1 and email 2. So logic, time delay, and this will be 7 days. And after email 2, we want to add another delay, and this will be 5 days. And after the 5 days is up, we want to make sure that we update this person to not send emails to. So we go to data and we go to property update and we press add step, and then we'll create a new property and we'll mark this as unengaged property, and we will set this to a Boolean true. So what this means is whenever someone goes through this flow and doesn't open any of the emails, a property will be added to their profile called unengaged property, and you can get rid of this property, but I like to keep it so I know what I'm looking at, and that will be set to true. And what we'll do after is create another segment, and anyone which has this property marked as true, we will then suppress those profiles. So click on save. So now that we have the flow in place, I just want to quickly go through emails 1 and 2 to show you what examples could look like. So here I am in Figma again, and as you can see, we've got 2 example emails. In the first email, what you want to do is acknowledge the low engagement that they have towards your emails and give them a simple buying incentive. And the subject line could be like, where did you go? Where have you been? And in email 2, what you want to do is just say goodbye and give them a final offer. And this offer should be a big offer because this is your last chance essentially to increase your customer lifetime value with a specific person. And so as long as you're making profit, give them as big of a discount as possible. And so here are the 2 emails that I made for this brand called Kishkin for the sunset flow. So obviously it's a woman's brand, so it's got simple messaging saying, are you okay? We've noticed you haven't been opening our emails. Here's 50% off everything. Use this code. And then it's also a simple goodbye message. So we're not good at goodbyes. So use your exclusive offer to stick around. And if we don't hear from you, we'll send you a final email before unsubscribing you. And give them another link as well at the bottom. And for email 2, we've got, this is your final email. So this is a goodbye. We loved having you in the community. But before you go, here's one last treat. And so give them a big discount, so 20% off everything. we've got the CTA here, and then this is just what I added in it, which is a personal note from the founder. So thank you for supporting Kishkin. Hope you feel more confident, etc. And give them another CTA button to claim the final offer. And that's pretty much it. It's very simple to create a sunset flow email. So all you got to do is acknowledge the low engagement, give them a buying incentive, and for email two, just say goodbye and give them a big offer. That's it. And as you can see for the subject line and preview text, it's also very simple. So for the subject lines, it's where did you go? And the preview text is here's a little treat. Now for email two, the subject line is this is goodbye, unless dot dot dot. And then the preview text will be your last email plus our biggest offer yet. It's something very simple. Now we're back in Klaviyo. All you need to do to upload these emails is click on the email node. You can name this email one. You can enter the subject line here. So I'm just gonna do ABC. You can enter the preview text here. You could edit the sender. So the sender name would be your brand name. And then maybe for email two, you might want to switch it up and have the founder name here. So it's a pattern break. And then this will be your brand's email address. And then for the template, you press on select template, and then you essentially just add the emails that you've created within here as a template. And if you want a tutorial on how to add your emails into Klaviyo like this, I'll make another video on that because it's a lot more complicated and there's more steps involved. But for the purposes of this flow, that's how you add email one, and you just repeat the process for email two. And this flow is now all set up. All you got to do is press review and turn on, which is in the right hand corner at the top. Set the status to live and press save. And let's just go back to our dashboard. Now, as you can see, our flow is live. We've got the sunset and engage flow tutorial and it's live. So now anyone who completes this flow by not making a purchase or not opening or clicking an email, they will get this new property added to their profile. So now what we want to do to make sure that we make use of this flow is everyone who has that property set as true, we want to suppress those profiles. And to do this, we create another segment. So let's go back into our segments and lists, and we create a new segment. Name this segment Unengaged Suppressed. And then we add our condition. So properties about someone, and make sure this is a Boolean type. And the property that you've added, whenever someone has that property active on their profile, it will appear in this list. So right now, because this is a demo account, no profiles actually have that property. So once it appears, it will be in this list. And what you can then do is make sure it is marked as true, and then it has the type Boolean. And so whenever someone goes through the flow and finishes it, the property will be marked true. They will fall into this segment, and I'll show you what to do after the segment is created. So every month, what you want to do is, so it's not letting me create the segment without selecting the property. So I'm just going to select a random property right now. So now that you make the segment with the actual property that you have, what you want to do is every month or every 3 months, you want to make sure that whoever's in the segment, you suppress so that you don't keep sending emails to them. In order to do this, what you do is firstly go to manage this segment and export this as a CSV. So you press that, select all the properties and press export. So once you've got that CSV downloaded, we want to upload that and suppress those profiles. So we go to suppression list from the search bar. So we go to the top right hand side, click on this more actions button, press import suppressions and upload the CSV that you just downloaded. And what that will do is it will add all those profiles to your current suppression list. And if you do this on a routine basis, you're essentially suppressing profiles every now and then that don't engage. And ultimately, that will improve your deliverability and ensure that your Klaviyo bill remains low because you don't want to keep active profiles that aren't actually engaging with your emails. So that's it for this tutorial on making the sunset flow. You've got your sunset and unengaged segment, then you've got the flow that you've built, and then lastly, what you want to do is create a segment to suppress, and then you actually carry out the suppression every 60 to 30 days. So if you have any questions on that, make sure to drop them down in the comments below. And if you're an e-commerce brand that needs help setting up this flow, or you need general email marketing help, my agency's link will be in the description. Get a call booked in, and I'll see you in the next video.